Hello again. I felt a bit spring-like this week, so I thought I'd put my flamingo shirt on. You know me, I love a shirt. So this week I want to talk about prevalence and incidence. So prevalence and incidence and the difference between them, and why I think it might be important to understand them. So the word incidence refers to something that is happening new, that is happening now. So whether that's cancer or a broken bone, or hitting my hand with a thumb with a hammer, it's happening now. It's an incident. If we talk about cancer as an example, the incidence of cancer would be those people who are diagnosed in any year. I say year, but it could be any period of time you like, but who are diagnosed with this condition for the first time in that period. So when we look at things like cancer, and we're sort of talking about all cancer, it's a figure that can be quite a scary one, and it's also a figure that can be easily misunderstood. So a Guardian article recently came out, and it was saying that, it gave the headline that said vegetarians have a 14% lower cancer risk than meat eaters. So it's important to look at this before we get to the risk element. It's important to look at incidence, because this is what we're talking about. And when you sort of talk about this, you're talking about all cancers. So generally speaking, incidences are measured per 100,000 of a population. So in the UK, the incidence of cancer is around 750 per 100,000. Now, you know, whether that sounds like a lot to you or not, I don't know. It depends on your expectation and perspective. But the thing that it's important to remember is that it's referring to the number of cases diagnosed, not the number of deaths, or even the severity or the type of cancer. It's just all cancers. You know, if you have a small skin cancer on your shoulder, your face, then this would be included in that figure, as would somebody that had a terminal carcinoma of the pancreas or something. You know, it's the same as far as incidences are concerned, and then you can start to drill down into the individual structures. Now, you know, we can get cancer of absolutely everything. We produce cancer cells, and so when you take all the bits of the body that you are listed as cancer, you know, lung cancer, liver cancer, and so forth, there's a category that is other, and that accounts for the single biggest category, which is about 42% of all cancers. We have about 750 new cases per 100,000 UK each year. Now, that's quite a lot when you consider the overall population, but then we start to get into the people that are living with cancer. So when we say skin cancer, for example, we talk about all cancers, and we go back to this vegetarian idea. Now, I don't know for sure, but my guess is that it's unlikely that a vegetarian diet is going to have much impact on skin cancer, which is a pretty common cancer. But it's hard to say from a study like this that we're talking about. So there's a couple of things that headlines don't tell us, though, and that is that although we talk about reduced, as I said, it's not talking about it's about reduced risk from cancer. It's not necessarily about reduced risk of dying from cancer, which is a completely different thing. So that risk of living with something or dying from something is referred to as morbidity, which is measured in something called daily active lives, life years lost, or mortality, which is the thing that kills you. And that's how the World Health Organization, measures morbidity and mortality. So you might live with a cancer for 20 years and have lots of treatment for it, and the effect of that would be the morbidity. But you have a heart attack at the end, and that's what kills you. So this brings us back to that word prevalence. If you've got something that you're living with, that's a prevalence, a number of people at any given point in time that have this condition. If I break my leg, and I might go into the category of those people who are currently in the United Kingdom suffering from a broken leg, because that's how long it takes me 6 months to get over it or something. And so during that time, I will be included in the numbers of people that have a broken leg, and that's the prevalence. So prevalence is important because it gives us a measure of how a society might be dealing with a specific condition. If the prevalence numbers don't match the incidence numbers, we can see that something needs investigating. So prevalence and incidence have quite a strong link, and it needs to be understood. So going back to the study of the vegetarian diet, the other thing we've got to think about, which is, as I said, about risk, is tricky, because there's a lot of other things to think about and you might want to consider. And as I said, we'll talk about risk factors another time. But do vegetarians as a group make better lifestyle choices? Are they less likely to smoke or drink heavily? And I don't know the specific answer to that, but it wouldn't be a big leap to think that somebody's making an active choice about their lifestyle as far as their diet is concerned is also potentially likely to make other better or healthier choices in relation to other things. So it's very hard to control for these things and factor everything else out. And so you get this headline that leaps out at you, and it looks like it's conclusive, but you have to be really, really careful. I put a video up about the 10 things that we have to look at a little while ago. So prevalence and incidence, and that's where we're going. By the way, don't get me wrong, this isn't a commentary about vegetarianism or good or bad. I'm certainly not going down that route. But it's more about how this headline struck me as something that we would need to look a little bit closer and deeper at as far as really understanding what it means. You know, when we look at rates of disease or illness, the distinction and the difference between these is quite vital. And if we're going to get a handle on health matters generally, it's quite a good idea for us to understand these things. It might be useful for us to look at how many people at any given point in time are suffering from a particular condition that we see a lot of in our practice. And this would help us to understand the frequency or the prevalence of this in our general communities. And you can go onto the Office of National Statistics and they'll generally have a breakdown of those things. So there we go, those two words of the week, incidence, prevalence, I think are interesting to look at, and hopefully they may help you when you're discerning how to go about reading and looking at some of the information that's out there, you know. So there you go. What do you think? What have you read that might be confusing, or that prevalence and incidence have got mixed up? Let's talk about it. Put your comments in the comments section below, and please go and have a look at my website, Functional Anatomy. Lots more information, dissection videos. Please like, subscribe, share, do all the things that you are supposed to do on social media. And thanks very much, and I will see you next time.